What's up, YouTube? We're over here at the Gobuku Studios, and we just saw Jumanji: The Next Level. We're about to send a review out to you guys, and we'll let you know our thoughts on the movie. I got Timour with me, and yeah, we're gonna just go right into the movie review. So, Jumanji: The Next Level. We'll say right off the bat. Oh, by the way, spoilers. If you want to see any spoilers, go to this time in the video, and we will let you know when the spoiler talk is going to be. But until then, no spoilers, so be sure to just check out the video even if you haven't seen the movie yet and or don't want spoilers. That being said, let's go right into it. So I will say that I saw the first Jumanji. Timour did not see the first Jumanji, and by first I mean like the reboot, because neither of us saw the original. But yeah, I mean, I guess just overall impressions, I thought it was a really good movie. You know, I thought the first movie was really good, to be completely honest. I like that movie was really fun. It was like, it did video games correct without like taking a video game specific IP. Like the original Jumanji was just something that I think they made up. It wasn't actually like a game or anything, but it's not like an IP based off a game like the Sonic movie or the Mario Bros movie or Pikachu or something like that, or Detective Pikachu, I mean. So it just felt fun. It hit all the right spots for me to be an all around solid movie with one or two little gripes. But yeah, what are your overall thoughts on the movie?
I think it's great. I mean, like you said, I never saw the first one, so I don't really have that to compare it to. But I think, like you said, it just did everything really well. It uses like the whole idea of a video game as kind of like the plot point, but I don't think you really need to be a fan of video games to watch this. I mean, there's like little tidbits there that, you know, gamers will pick up on, but overall, I think anyone can really watch this movie. And I think that's part of what makes it so great.
Yeah, like even the actors, like a lot of them, like you got Danny DeVito in there.
Yeah.
And I remember when people asked him like about Detective Pikachu, he's like, "What is a Pokemon?" So I mean, like you have people who don't even know what video games are, like as the actors. So even older fans who like are fans of his work, fans of the guy who played Milo, I don't remember his name. Yeah, like people like that, they'll probably at least enjoy the game from that aspect. But overall, I think it's a really cool movie. And again, like Timour said, for gamers, it just, there's a lot of things in there that they throw in, and we'll get more into it. But there's a lot of things that just make you laugh, and you're like, wow, that's actually something that happens in games that it's like ironic that they're actually capitalizing on that. But what do you think of the actors? Because like I think everyone bounced off each other perfectly well. Most of them are returning. Both the video game characters and the human characters are returning from the previous movie. But I think like throwing these different personalities into the game characters, more so than the first movie, like I'm calling it a game, is actually really cool. And I think that overall that just makes it much more of a fun movie to watch. It changes it enough without twisting the formula too far to make it something totally different.
Well, I think like the first group of actors that we saw in like the real world, most of them I didn't care too much about, except like, you know, Danny DeVito and some of the other ones. But in the actual game world, I think, like you said, everyone really bounced off each other, and there was a lot of great dynamics. I mean, there's a lot of like really well known actors like The Rock and Kevin Hart, but then there were some of them that I never saw before, and I think even they worked really well with the more popular actors. So yeah, like I said, I think that creates a great dynamic.
You know, like Jack Black, man.
Oh yeah, Jack Black. Forgot about that.
But yeah, like honestly, the characters did really well. The only like it's hard to find negatives with this movie for me, because a lot of it was just the pacing was well, the comedy was on point, they had emotional moments, they had action, and none of it felt like it was too drawn out. I mean, maybe the comedy, you know, I know a lot of people, especially when it comes to like Marvel movies and stuff, people complain that, oh, it's too much comedy, but I like the fun types of movies, dude. I don't like movies that are overly serious and that want to be like super dark and grimy and like they want you, unless it's like a horror movie. That's the only time I'll care about that. For the most part, like the comedy, did you think that they overdid it?
I mean, I'm in like the same boat as you. Like I really love when movies have a lot of comedy, but I think that, you know, the average viewer might think it's a little too much, but because they kind of just throw it in randomly. So I could see why someone might be like, you know, this is a little too much, but personally I liked it.
Yeah, and the only like big gripe that I can have I don't know if you feel the same way. Was the villain? I don't even remember his name, to be completely honest. I remember that he was talking about some brothers all the time, which was like one of the main plot points. But we'll get more into spoilers later. But overall, the villain just did not do it for me. And this is the same for the first movie. In the first movie, the villain over there was just laughably just kind of shoehorned in to be a villain, and to just have that obstacle for the characters to get past, to get to the end goal. I feel like it's the same thing here. And to me, that's just like that. But that's such a small point that I'm like, the rest of the movie was so good, and they could have just killed the villain off and literally just had them going to their goal, which is the same as kind of the first movie of finding a jewel. They could have just not had a villain and just have the different options, because most of the movie, I mean, and we'll get again more into this when we get into spoilers, but most of the movie is them just fighting against the terrain and fighting against their weaknesses. Like the villain really isn't even there. He's not even like sending an army to actively search and fight them, because that's not even part of his goal. He's just kind of there, and they're, if anything, they're the ones who are invading his world. So I don't know what you thought about the villain.
I think that you can tell the main point wasn't for them to beat the villain. It was just more about exploring this world and overcoming all these different obstacles. I mean, I think he looks pretty cool as a villain. Like, he definitely looked pretty evil, but aside from that, like you said, I don't even remember his name or much about him. He's just very generic in my opinion, so I don't really think he's really the main focus of the movie by any means.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only big like negative I can say. They did a lot of cool stuff that, again, if you watch the first movie, you're not going to be able to be like, oh, it's just a copy and paste. It's not. Like, honestly, if I really had to say it, there's a lot of things, again, we'll talk more about it later, I keep saying that, but that changed up from the first movie. I guess we can say this. Who's your favorite character in the movie? It could be either the game character, it can be like a human character, or it could be like the human going into the game character.
Yeah. It has to be between I'd say Milo's character or Spencer's grandpa, which is Danny DeVito's character.
But Milo is like human, or when he's in Kevin Hart's body, or when he's in the question third body.
I would say mainly Kevin Hart's body, but it's more like his personality. And then as for Spencer's grandpa, I liked him as The Rock's character.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know, because the I forget what's the black dude's name. You remember his name? The one that was in Jack Black's body for most of it. He's like oh man, I'm the map guy,
Oh,
he's like the
Fridge, I think.
Yeah, Fridge, or whatever his name is. Like, he was really funny, and he was good in the last movie too. In the last movie, he was Kevin Hart, and in this movie, he's Jack Black. And it's funny because it's like Jack Black is doing like a black person's voice, so it's like he has this stereotype of a black person, but it's so funny. I loved it, and Jack Black pulled that off so well. But at the same time, yeah, I had to say my favorite character by far is Milo and Kevin Hart's body, dude. Like, the comedy between just Kevin Hart himself is such a good actor, and then mix that with like him trying to be like an old like black man who's been through life, and he's basically always telling stories to like his grandkids, and he like will go on and on and on. Like, it made me laugh, dude. And like the little lines he'll have in between too, it makes you laugh your ass off, and I just couldn't stop laughing at that guy. I guess, what did you feel about like the obstacles they had to face / the environments they had to go through? Did you feel like it was varied enough and that it was paced well, or did you feel like it was like it just dragged on, or maybe it was too short, you want to see more of stuff, without getting into spoilers, obviously?
I mean, I think it was pretty good. Most of them were pretty unique. I think a lot of them I didn't really expect. There were some of them that kind of seemed predictable, but for the most part, I think it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, they hit a lot of the main tropes of like an open world game. It's pretty funny because, like, again, this isn't really spoilers because we're just gonna name the environments. They start off in like a desert, right? Well, the jungle technically. Then they go to a desert. Then they go to a city, right? Is it the city after the desert?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go to
the
like the
city place.
city and then they go to like a wintry type place. And those are the three main places. Like there's like a little temple thing and whatever, but like it's very varied. Like it goes through drastic switches. And I think in the first movie they went to like a bazaar type place, like in Aladdin, kind of like that type of thing. Where this is more like a nighttime. It reminded me kind of like a Skyrim type thing or a Final Fantasy village where you're going in and like talking to people and NPCs and stuff. Speaking of which, this is a random question. Who would you say is your favorite NPC in the game? Because there's a lot of NPC characters they have that have like generic lines and stuff.
Yeah, I liked all of them, but I think the one I liked the most was the Rock's ex, the girl, because it was kind of like a scripted moment. It kind of reminded me of one of the videos we did with the scripted boss battles, where like
Yep.
she basically explains to him like what he has to do, and then they kiss, and then the scripted event repeats, and then they kiss again, and then the Rock's like, wait, let's do it one more time.
Yeah, and a lot of it's funny because a lot of like the stuff is like the NPC talks and then you're supposed to say a certain line, but the characters are like, wait, what did they just say? And then the NPC will just repeat the dialogue as if you're in a game, which is I just thought it was hilarious. But I mean, those are our basic thoughts on the movie. So I guess we'll go through our ratings, and then after that, we'll go right into spoiler talk and just talk about like our favorite scenes and stuff we thought stood out. So I guess I'll go first here because I watched the first movie as well. This is a tough score for me because I do want to give it a very high score, but again, I definitely think there are things that could have been done better. And if they are to do another one, which I think it'd be fine if they end it here, it'd be fine if they do another one. There's nothing that's weighing one way or the other for me. I would say that I would give it an 8.5. 8.5, almost a 9. It's almost at a 9. If the villain was better, it would probably be a 9. And if they had like a little, if the main cast was a little bit better in my opinion, like the human versions, which again they were from the previous movie, if they were a little bit better, it would probably bump it up to potentially a full on 10. It's a really good movie, and if you like fun, if you like action, and if you like comedy, if you liked Shazam, that's a great movie that reminds me of this a lot. Except this one I think ramps up the comedy and ramps up the interactivity with different people a lot more, and it hits all the right notes. So 8.5 for me for Jumanji: The Next Level.
So as someone who's never seen the first one and kind of just jumped into this one, I'm actually gonna go a little higher and say 8.7. I mean, it really just hit a lot of good spots for me. The comedy was great. The actors were great. The dynamics that they had were great. Environments were great. Pacing was great. I think it's just like a few things that are holding it back, like the villain, like we talked about. He's just not very memorable or good. And the characters in the beginning, like I said, they're not really expanded enough. I mean, maybe they are in the first one, but I didn't really see much care for them. And another thing I liked is that basically like jumping into this game world, there wasn't really a lot that had to be explained. I think, like right at the beginning part when they're in the jungle, a lot of it's kind of either self-explanatory or they kind of touch on it, and the rest you can kind of pick up on your own. So yeah, 8.7.
Would you recommend this movie?
Yeah.
And who would you recommend it to?
Oh, that's the thing. I would actually recommend it to really anyone because, like I said, you don't need to know about video games or be into them to watch it. You could just be a fan of the actors. And if you do like video games, then I think this is perfect for you.
All right. Well, with that being said, those were our ratings for Jumanji. So we're going to get into spoiler talk and just talk about pretty much whatever you want in the movie. Now, I guess first thing we'll do, favorite scene. This is very tough for me. There's a lot of really good scenes in this movie, but I can't even pick, it's hard to pick between different genres of scenes because there's some emotional scenes I really liked. There's some comedic scenes that I really liked. I don't know. Do you have a favorite scene in mind that you could think of?
It's tough to choose, but the one I'm thinking of is basically right after they get like their new costumes, and then the one between Milo and Eddie, where they're basically talking about like how they left each other when they used to be friends, and then the restaurant kind of split, and then they kind of had like this reunion moment. So I think that was a good emotional scene.
Yeah, and it's weird that we're actually able to care about that. Like I thought I would just like throw that out under the bus when they first started talking about it, but then as the movie progressed and even when they like fought each other, I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty emotional and pretty intense between these guys. Like you could tell that they're friends for a long time. And it's cool because the synergy between The Rock and Kevin Hart is so good that it just works. It literally just works with those two characters. So they did a good job with that. But then it's kind of weird later that you see The Rock talking to the chick and then they have an emotional moment. So it's like it's the same video game character, but two people embodying the same character. So it kind of feels kind of like, okay, so The Rock had an emotional moment with Milo, then he has an emotional moment with this chick, Martha, I think was her name. And it's like, oh man, this is kind of weird. But favorite scene, it would have to be, I think it was like when they first get to, oh man, it's got to be part in the city, when they're like getting the thing, and then it was like the most funniest moment for me. It's like when someone who died, I forget, someone died, and then Milo's like, oh, my life alert just went off. Like that part, because the sound effect happens and then he says, oh, my life alert just went off. I was dying, dude. I could not stop laughing. I think it was the thief chick died because like the villain throws like an axe at her, which by the way, there is a new character. I don't know why we didn't talk about this before. There's a thief person who Spencer, the main, who was The Rock in the original, got embodied with. And that's the cool thing about this movie. Every character is swapped. From the first movie, no one's pretty much the same character until they introduce a mechanic, which I really, really liked. They find this like special Jumanji fruit, which I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And during finding that, there's like this pool of water. It's like electric. I thought it was going to kill them, kind of like Crash Bandicoot style, where you crash to the sewer level, it will kill you. But they fall, the chick, I forget like the actual video game character's chick's name, but Martha's character falls in, and who's Fridge's character, he goes and grabs her, and then they swap bodies because of like some electric shock. So now Fridge is in Martha's character's body, and then Martha is becoming the map person. And I told you this before, I was like, oh man, right away they swap back, and I was like, this would have been so cool to explore. I want them to do more with this. But later in the movie, they do it. So I was going to ask you, what did you think about the whole body swapping thing? Like everyone, were you so used to the personalities that you were like, oh man, I don't want them to switch, or were you fine with it?
I was definitely used to it at first. I wasn't really happy that they switched, because I didn't really, that kind of took me a moment to like figure out who was who, even after they, explained it. I was still used to the first kind of group of people, and I didn't want them to, to kind of change personalities. Because like I said, I really liked Eddie's character as The Rock. But then when he switched to the thief person, at first I didn't really like it, but as the movie went on, I kind of started to, enjoy that sort of view. And I think that's like a testament to the actors, capabilities, because like even like the subtleties, like if you listen to Eddie's voice as The Rock, or it's not really his voice, but The Rock kind of doing his impression, you kind of get like the accent of what Danny DeVito would sound like. And then when it switches to the thief girl, then you also get the accent coming through her. So it still feels like the same character.
To me, I was like, at first I was like, did they dub it? Like they sound legit like the person. Like, did they dub over the freaking voice and they're just using the lip movements? But no, they didn't do that. But yeah, like then you also get Bethany, who's from the first movie. She was actually the original map dude, Jack Black's character. And you get she turns into a horse, which is so funny. I'm like, oh wow, they actually made like an animal freaking character. And then secondly, you have Alex, who in the first movie, if you don't know, he was basically trapped in the game for 20 years, got stuck there, and literally like when the other four came into the game, they met him and they helped him escape. So yeah, that was like a side quest to them getting the jewel. So he comes back, and that's why at first he's kind of hesitant, but then he's like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna help you guys out, because he knows the game so well. But you wouldn't know that from this movie, because this guy loses 2 lives in like the span of 2 seconds when he's trying to save Beth. Was it Beth? No, Milo becomes the horse at that point. it's kind of confusing. If you watch the movie, you more so understand this, but everyone like switches. But basically, yeah, he becomes I think is it Nick Jonas? I think it's Nick
I don't
Jonas.
remember which
It's either Joe Jonas or Nick Jonas. Jonas. I'm just gonna call him Jonas. Sorry, I don't. Sorry for any Jonas fans out there, Jonas Brothers fans. But he becomes him, and he's supposed to be like the master of the game, but then he dies like twice in a row, and I'm like, okay, I thought this guy was supposed to know the game inside out. Then again, this is Jumanji the next level. So like you could kind of look at it as like an expansion to like maybe new players wouldn't, even old players wouldn't know what's in the expansion of the world. And I thought that was really cool. So my biggest gripe and this is kind of a spoiler, that's why I didn't talk about it earlier. Why did Spencer go back into the game? There was no reason for that. I like it because it kickstarted the movie without giving you a whole bunch of exposition or anything, but I hate it because it's a stupid reason. Why did his reasoning is that he felt like, Martha was getting a lot of attention from other people and that he was left out. But why would you go into a game where you know that you can die? You saw Alex before, who literally was trapped there for 20 years, and you're going to go back in? That to me, I hated. I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
No, I mean, I pretty much agree, but I think, and this is my guess, but I think the reasoning behind it is just because they were trying to like, connect with the audience, maybe like some of the younger viewers. Because there's like the part, I think it was like on the bus or something, but he's like scrolling through Instagram, and I think that's supposed to like relate to a lot of people. So it's kind of, I guess, their attempt of connecting this to the the audience. I personally, I don't think it really works that well, but I didn't really like the reason either.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it because he wants to be The Rock again, and then he gets randomized. Because in the original movie, or the first reboot, they actually get to pick their characters, like character select screen. They don't have that here. They just get randomly dropped in. So I kind of get it to that point. Like, think about if you were playing an MMO, and you're like, oh, I want to be a magician, and then like as soon as you click create character, it just randomizes a creation character, and you can't make another one, and you're a warrior that has like no magic at all. Like, you would be pretty pissed. But this is like you're actually embodied within that character. So to me, I can see how it could work, because like, yeah, if you were The Rock in a video game and you were like virtual reality, I think it would make sense for you to want to be The Rock again. But at the same time, if it's a life or death situation and I got 3 lives and I'm about to die, no thanks, I would not go back. I mean, that's me saying that without us having that technology, but that's a whole nother conversation. But anyways, I don't know. Was there anything else that really stood out to you in the movie that you think makes this movie like unique from other movies? Like anything you could think of off the top of your head?
Not really. I mean, like the action was good, the comedy was good, and that's something you can find in like other movies. Mm-hmm. But trying to think of how it would be unique.
I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is like the whole stakes of having limited lives. I think that was one thing that's really cool. They brought that back from the original, but I think that in this game they don't really focus on it too much. It's just that basically what ends up happening is everyone by the end has pretty much 1 life left, and I think it would have been a little cooler if they put like a revive system in or something, like a one-time revive or something, just to spruce it up so that we could have a stakes of maybe someone like died. Mm-hmm. But they didn't really do that. I think a lot of movies are doing this, and this is kind of spoilers for Toy Story 4, so if you haven't seen that, but you should have by now, then you should do that. But Milo, he's about to die in real life. He knows he's about to die. That's why he came back to make up with Eddie and, be friends again, because they were mad at each other for the whole diner thing. And he decides, in horse form no less, who can fly, which by the way I called that he can fly at the end. But he decides to stay in the game. And Toy Story 4 had the same ending. I feel like a lot of movies are doing this to where they're making the main character do something specific that goes against what the norm would be, and now that's becoming the norm. And it's kind of annoying me that movies are starting to do that, and I'm like, really? Like, why couldn't, I mean, just, I know it's cliche for it to be the other way, but at this point it's becoming a whole, I'm going to be more humble by staying here by myself and doing this. I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
I mean, I didn't mind it personally. I liked it. I could see why, you could kind of be getting tired of it, especially when you see it in so many times. But I don't know. I liked it.
Well, to me, like, I guess, why would you want to live your life as a horse, though? Like, even if you could fly.
I mean, he's gonna die anyways in real life, so he may
But
as
would you
well.
rather be trapped in a game forever where you can't die? I don't think it. I mean, okay, this is a whole nother topic, but like, I don't even think I would want to live forever, man. If you live forever, then like, what's there to look forward to after
True.
life, man? Then again, I don't know. I'm not 75 like Milo was, so I can't tell you. But I don't know. I mean, closing impressions. What are your like thoughts on Jumanji: The Next Level? Is it really? Do you expect like a sequel, or do you expect it to just end? And if it did, it satisfy you?
Um, I would say they could definitely pull off a sequel, especially with what happens in like the post credits. Um, I don't know if I would really expect them to make one. Um, but overall, like like I said before, it was a pretty solid movie. There's still some things that I don't really, I guess, understand about like the game world, like we were kind of talking about it, but like, like is there like a health bar system? Because like you see some parts where they just die like instantly, and then other parts where they kind of like get hurt but they don't get killed. So there's still some stuff that I think they could explore, which could possibly lead to another movie in the series. So that would be kind of interesting.
I mean, it could just be instant kill monsters. You never know that. There's a lot of those in those games.
True.
Especially back in the day, because it's an old school game.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, closing thoughts on Jumanji: The Next Level. I think it's a really great movie. One that has a lot of action, good emotional like set pieces for the older audience to actually be invested in, as well as some action that's both funny and actually like makes you enjoy knowing more about the lore of the game world. And if you haven't seen the first one, I definitely recommend it. It's a great movie, and this one doesn't disappoint either. Again, like if you're looking for a really crazy villain, you're not gonna find that here. If you're looking for a really deep story, you're not gonna find that here. What you're gonna find is a lot of fun comedy, in the moment type stuff, and some stuff that pays off later, which is cool. But overall, I think Jumanji: The Next Level was a great movie. I'd recommend that everyone sees it. And any last thoughts on the movie?
No, I mean we pretty much hit everything. I'll definitely go see it, and recommend it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been RZ,
And this is Timour.
and we're over here at the Gobuku Studios. Also, be sure to follow us on the Rumbl app. We are now on there posting videos. We're probably going to post a mini version of the impressions of this right after this. So if you go there, you'll get a sneak peek before this video even goes live. Also, we're going to be doing like little tidbits of our skits on there. So if you want, more, I guess, of a sneak peek at what we're going to do in the future, be sure to check Rumbl, Rumbl. It's on both Android and on iOS, and you can get that for free. And just follow us on there. We're Gobuku. And other than that, this is our last movie review for 2019. But don't worry, we'll be coming back in 2020 with a lot of stuff, including what everyone's waiting for, the Sonic movie. We're definitely going to be seeing that and giving our impressions on that. And I mean, all my friends already know that they want to see my impressions on that movie. So we'll see. They even showed a trailer over there for it, which is pretty cool. But with that being said, we've been at the Gobuku Studios, and hope you enjoyed this movie review. Be sure to subscribe and like this video, and share it if you want, and comment if you want, so that way more people can see this in the future, and you can also join in on the discussion with them about Jumanji: The Next Level. What do you guys think about it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys on the next movie review. See you later.
See you.